Welcome, my name is Tishar and this is StarMade. The previous episode we built a whole lot of medical equipment, and in this episode I'm going to use it to hopefully get my medical area up and running within the ship. And I was planning on building it right over here between the escape pods basically. But before we can do that, we need to figure out something else. Because we do have these escape pods here, we need a way to get to them as well. So we need a hallway all along these entrances to the escape pods themselves on both sides of the ship. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, design a hallway and then see how much space and what configuration I can put the medical area in between those two hallways. But before we get to the hallways themselves, there's one or at least two additional things I wanted to add to my list of medical equipment. One is a remark I got on my previous episode. We need to add a morgue to the medical area. Unfortunately, it's probably needed. And I also built this thing. This is a dentist chair. You could probably use it as an interrogation chair as well, but it's almost the same. But yeah, we are in deep space, so we don't have anything nearby, so we need a dentist as well. And I'm probably going to use this dentist chair in combination with our examination bed in the same area. So we've got this general practice area for doctor and dentist to receive people from the ship to help them. And then of course different dedicated areas for all the other equipment. But yeah, let's get back to the hallway. I already did a lot of building for that, so I don't unfortunately have any previous stages of this hallway. I did a repeating pattern within this hallway with a lot of different material changes to give it a bit more life. And it is 3 white, then one of these, what do you call them, support things, then one empty space with orange hull in the middle to give it a bit of color, then another support, and then a space of 3 again. And I placed some lights here at the top. So it looks like there's a lot of light coming from the wall over there. Some is, but not a lot. And I use blue lights at the lower part of the hallway to give this contrasting color between the blue of the hallway, then the red lights near the entrances for the escape pods themselves, and then the whiter light at the top of the hallway. I tend to use light as a sort of paintbrush basically, because most of this hull used within this hallway is gray, so there's not a lot of color going on, and to give it a bit more dynamic feel I used different light colors for that. I used the grate over here in the middle to simulate some sort of what you call them, usually use them in parking garages, things like that, exposed, not really exposed, but for electric wiring. They put them in these metal tray type things. So I thought that this should look something like that. And we do have additional door here in the middle. This leads to the maintenance area for the escape pods themselves. So we incorporated that as well within the same setup for the 3 white sections of the hallway. There's one issue I have with this hallway, however. It's very, very long. Even though it has a lot of detail, I still think it's a bit too much for this length. So I want to find a way to break it up somehow. I'm not sure how exactly. And I also need a way to connect it to this middle area because, yeah, we want this hallway to be connected to the medical area as well, so you can get into it from different sides of the ship. So this side, the other side, and probably from the side of the elevator. So three entrances. So that's not something I need to incorporate as well. So I'm going to experiment a bit with that, and I'll show you the result next. And all of a sudden the hallway is a lot shorter, at least this section. Now what did I do? This is the first escape pod, and there's something different here as well. As you can see here, the door is closed. Because what I did is I want this to be a main route for the people to move through the ship on this deck at least as well. So I don't want all these escape pods to have open doors all the time. Only when you need them you can open them and then run in and then launch the pod, and well, the door closes behind you automatically. So I added this button over here that you can press and then open the emergency door. Just run in and then press the button and you're fine. So yeah, it's required a bit of extra logic, not a lot, but just a small bit to incorporate this button, because also built in the failsafe that you can't open the door once the pod is launched. So once you get to the end of this hallway, you have this door to the maintenance area. I removed the wedge that went up one block. It wasn't really needed anymore. So you can still go to this maintenance area. It's a bit darker in this corner, so you can't really notice this maintenance area all that much, but you can go there. Then you go through here to this secondary part of the hallway. So moved basically part of the hallway to the side. And now we have a entrance to our medical area over here. Very wide door. Same on the other side. And we've got this large space here in the middle, and then a door on this side that leads to an area for the elevator. And then of course a door on the other side to the other area, the other side of the ship, the other hallway. And this part in the middle here, I haven't done much with it at the moment. It's still part of the old hallway. This will be a emergency supply room. So spacesuits, some other supplies, things like that will be stored in here, that people can grab if they need it once they go to these emergency pods. So yeah, that's an excuse for me to put this room here and break up this hallway. So then you continue over here, and then go through here. You have these 3 additional escape pods here as well. So this is still the same piece of hallway. It's a bit longer than the first part, but not as long as it was before. It was too much of a good thing, basically. And then of course a door at the end that leads to somewhere else. I did some initial planning for the area for our medical area as well. I copied the operation bay over here to this side of the medical area, and then the plan is to have this hallway connect to the back over here, so you can go in here for the medical procedures and then go out here all the way around it to the rest of the medical area. So that should fill in most of this this part of the area I have available for my medical bay. And then I will probably want to end the medical area the same length as this hallway goes. So the blocks over here are basically to mark that that end of the medical area. So we've got this whole area between the hallways over here, and then this frontal area that's a bit smaller over here for the medical area available. That's a lot of space to work with, I think. More than enough to get all my equipment in. A small alteration on this side of the medical bay. I changed this hallway to be more square on this end, and then I placed this washing basin on this end. So a surgeon can wash their hands with green soap over here, so they're all nice and clean. And then go here, have some control station for the operating robot that's in here. And they don't have to be here, I think, if the robot does their work, but they can come in here to operate themselves if they need to. And then I've got this stretcher over here on this end of the hallway that they can use to wheel in the patients. They've got the door here to the rest of the medical area, and where you can see, of course, the operation bay. And on this end, I've got a door, and that leads, unfortunately, to the morgue. At least what the space of the morgue is going to be. I just placed in these two slab beds where they can put the bodies if needed. But yeah, there's nothing much here at the moment. I still have to build up the walls a bit. So yeah, this side works out just fine, I think. I just need to puzzle a bit for all the other rooms that this area will need. It's basically a big jigsaw puzzle that you put together on every floor of the ship, and that's why I really wanted the elevators, things like that, in place first before I did this, because then you can puzzle a bit more where rooms are going to be and how they are going to connect it. But we'll continue working on this this medical puzzle to see how we can fit everything together. I think I've got most of the layout figured out now. I put in most of the equipment I have as well, where they have their designated spot now. So let's walk through it from the front. So this area is where you come into the medical ward. Like I said before, you've got 3 instances, 2 to the side and 1 at the front near the elevator. And then you come in and you have these 2 areas to the side. This one is not finished yet, but this will basically be the nurse station. So here the nurse or nurses will be stationed and receive the patients. And on this side, you've got a what do you call that? An apothecary, where you can pick up medicine, basically. So it's a closed off area, and then you've got this well, where people inside can give you the medicine without you getting to them. I'm not sure what it's called. And we've got a couple of secure cabinets in here with all the medical supplies that are here. Not sure if I'm going to keep it like this, but yeah, it's just temporary here to give me the idea what I want to keep here. And then on this side, we've got a bit of a waiting area, some chairs over here, and I wanted to put in some greenery, so some sort of plant life within a confined space to give a bit more of a restful feeling for the people. And then on this side we will have the general practice office for the doctor. So we've got this examination bed and then the dentist chair in here. We still need to make it half an office as well, basically. And then you go through here, you can see inside the operation theater. I imagine that this glass would be opaque once the operation starts. Yeah, it's just because it looks cool like this, but yeah, for privacy reasons, it's not really all that good. And on this side, we've got our patient beds. So we've got 8 beds available. It's either too little or too many. I mean, if all your patients that are at least critical enough to have a bed here in the medical ward, if all 8 are occupied, then you probably already have a bigger problem. And it's probably not going to be enough beds. And then on this side, we've got a room connected to the patient's room. So this will probably be showers and toilets, things like that. And then at the end here, we've got our entrance to our back entrance for the operating theater. that I showed before, and on this end we have got an entrance to a room here for a laboratory type environment with this type of thing in. And on this end we've got a room with the medical scanner, so that would take up half the room basically. Still need to complete that a bit. So I think I'm happy with this layout, how it fits within the space that I have available as well. It actually fits in really nicely the way I laid it right now. So we'll build up the walls a bit and see if they can fit in all the doors, things like that. With all the walls in place, you get a much better feel how big spaces are, and if it is enough space for what you want it for. Actually, this medical ward is actually very big, and it feels roomy, at least roomy enough for the purposes. So yeah, I think I'll keep it this way and put in the ceiling, and then probably figure out a bit how I'm going to do this blend thing and some of the lighting, because that's going to be an issue as well. I want this to be a fairly bright area because it is an hospital, and hospitals in general are probably brighter than the rest of the interior of the ship, like this hallway. This is basically a contrast between the darker, dimly lit hallways and then the very brightly lit medical area. And here we go. I put on some of the lighting spots I want, and some doors for the different areas, and this splinter box thing that still has these 2D plans that are not crosses anymore. Not sure why that is. Hopefully they will be replaced by the 3D versions fairly soon. But yeah, I quite like this splinter box thing. Like I said, I want this to be a very bright area, so I placed lots of lights everywhere, and I still need to do that in some areas that are not done yet. But in the main hallway, this is probably the spots I'm going for. So yeah, I'm quite happy how this is turning out. I even did a bit of floor work. I'm not sure if this corners thing works out, because this is a docked entity and they are always lit up differently than the main entity of the ship. I did this shelving on this side next to the chairs, so there's probably some magazines over there. And I still need to do a lot more detailing in here, but that's it for now, I think. Because I need to take a bit of a break from some areas to think up some more ideas before I continue this. But as far as the area is concerned, I filled up all the empty space between the walls, as you can see with this red stuff. So this is quite fixed into place, so now I can use this as a reference for the other areas to fit them in. Probably going to work on this connection to the elevator first, I think. But there's also one other area I did a bit of work on, and that's the area below this main storage facilities. I already showed, of course, where the maintenance elevator goes to this area. This was my pull certain items from the main storage units area, but this is connected to a stairwell on this end. I did quite a bit of work here to decorate it a bit with some pillars in the middle. Then you can go down, and then you come into this area. So this is an area I blocked out already. Basically put in some basic walls and some lights to see what I'm doing, but there's no real detail or a real purpose here yet, except for this area where the external connection point for docking ships is. So if you have some suggestions what I can do with this more weirdly shaped area, then please let me know. You also have a floor below this that's also empty. I'm thinking of probably making something that you can see through the floor to the area below, and then put in some machinery here that you can see but not touch, basically. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work out. And I also have these smaller areas over here to the side next to the emergency stairs that I wanted to put some logic boards in. So it's probably going to connect over here to these maintenance hallways. So yeah, that's another area I'm going to concentrate on next to the medical bay I've got going. But like I said, it needs a lot more detail before I'm calling this area done. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know and try to see if I can incorporate that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.